Zebec recently got featured. Now, nothing I say is financial advice, and I'll talk about the price of ZBCN later in terms of my thoughts on it, but Zebec recently got featured on something called CoinRabbit, and it was in their latest article, and they were kind of highlighting how Zebec's growing real-world usage across payrolls and as well as cards, basically. And why do I think it's a pretty cool thing? Well, it's because at least Zebec got featured. Keep in mind, at a time like this, with ZBCN, granted it had a slight recovery, but still it's kind of down by a lot in the grand scheme of things. But besides that, especially at a time like this, Zebec is still being recognized. That's the thing. So if a project is still somewhat relevant, still has a following, still being recognized, I just don't want to give up because Zebec, it has an aspect of Solana. We take a look at also the aspects of ISO 20022 that it has alongside, right? Because we take a look at XDC and Stellar, they have an aspect of ISO 20022. So does Ripple, by the way, and a bunch of other projects too. But I'm just saying, when I take a look at that overall, the complete package, basically, I just don't want to give up. Now, it's easy for me to give up right now because ZBCN is around 45 times lower than 10 cents, approximately. It was actually a bit lower before, but now there's a slight recovery, so it's around 45 times lower. But still, it's not looking good. Sometimes people like to tell me that. However, keep in mind, ZBCN has over 90,000 holders, right? As we speak right now. I'm just one person. Like, for instance, I don't even have 1,000 friends on Facebook. 1,000 is actually already a lot of people, right? Let alone over 90,000. Like, that's a lot. Like, I can't do anything. What am I going to do? Do 100 push-ups just out of frustration so the charts do something? Like, okay, maybe it's exercise for me, which I think would be pretty awesome, but it's not going to do anything when it comes to the charts, though. That's the thing. So what can I do about this? Because people like to tell me, why don't you do something about it? Well, what can I do about this? The thing for me is this. Because I'm dollar cost averaging once a month, only that, right? I'm not doing any more, not doing any less, even though I'm not telling anyone to do anything. But by me doing that, I knew that my time horizon anyways was going to maybe be years. Maybe, right? It wasn't going to be days. It wasn't going to be weeks. I knew that I was going to have to wait for quite a while. So would it make sense for me to complain about waiting if I knew that I was going to have to wait for quite a while, maybe anyways? Like, no. It's like me going to a marathon and complaining that I'm tired. Well, it's like I was the one who decided to run the marathon. Why would I be complaining? Like, it doesn't make sense. Like, I can't complain about something that I did voluntarily and then I don't like what I did. Like, it doesn't make any sense. But this is personally my mindset. But you know what? Even despite all that, though, I just still haven't ignored when it comes to ZBC and hypothetically the thought of maybe 10 cents in my mind. Sure, again, we're on 45 times lower than that, but we have to consider at 10 cents, considering current circulating supply, market cap wouldn't even be 10 billion. It wouldn't even be that. It would actually be around 9.8 billion, so slightly under that. And we have to consider, remember when Zebec not too long ago was talking about the tokenomics? Keep in mind, with that, right, they did talk about how through kind of the stuff they generate from the Zebec products and all this type of stuff, they were going to be using that, hypothetically, to reacquire ZBCN, which in theory, the more popular the Zebec products become, allegedly, and the more they have coming in basically to reacquire the ZBCN, who knows, right? This is all hypothetical. Wouldn't that in theory remove bit by bit the circulating supply of ZBCN? Now, in theory, the lower the circulating supply is when it comes to ZBCN, the less of that market cap it would need, right, in order to hypothetically attain 10 cents. So why not, right? If there's a project that I am a fan of and there's somewhat a mechanism, basically, to make it increasingly slightly a little bit more rare like that, why would I complain about that? Like, I'd actually be a fan. It's just not really showcasing that as of right now. But really, I mean, a lot of other projects out there are having a pullback. ZBCN cannot, right, in my perspective, just randomly go on a rally of its own, especially at a time like this, because the sentiment isn't the best. It's not a microcap. Some microcaps out there do that, but I'm very skeptical. I'm wondering what's going on there, right? But ZBCN's not a microcap. Sure, Circle, which is the creator of USDC, they are allegedly a significant holder when it comes to ZBCN. We've also seen Solana Ventures back Zebec, but what are they going to do about this too, right? I mean, what are they going to do? Just randomly change the sentiment overall when it comes to this space? Sometimes it's not that easy. This is my mindset. So if they're that massive and take a look at how this space is doing overall, and largely they can't even really do much about it anyways, let alone me. What can I do? Right? That's the thing. So when I take a look at something like this, I'm going to stay patient. I'm going to still stay waiting, and that's it. But I just wanted to make this update real quick because I thought it was pretty cool that Zebec did get featured, because a lot of people thought, oh, Zebec got forgotten about. But I highly disagree with that. But this is my mindset.